And it is day 2 of the month of Pauper Commander. This time we're bringing in a Demir deck I have lovingly named I Can't Let Go of 2021 Standard, led by the star of 2021 Standard, showing Thought Thief, shout out the Demir Rogues. And like that standard deck, this is actually a mill deck. It's definitely a lower powered deck, but it's one I thought would be fun to build, so that's why we're showing it off today. So the deck functions around showing Thought Thief, which whenever an opponent has 8 or more cards in your graveyard, all rogues you control get +1/+0, and then whenever one or more rogue attack, each opponent mills 2 cards. So you can mill a lot of cards, so almost half the deck is mill, and then the other half is rogue, mana rocks, and lands. So let's just go over it. We'll start with the lands, because they're all pretty basic. Like, we're playing the gates, which are very nice in 2-color decks. Pretty much all the dual lands that are Demir, as well as the Evolving Wild, Metamorphic Expand, so all kind of like stocks. And we are playing these snow basics though, which is actually very important for one of the cards we have, because whenever a snow permanent enters the battlefield, it causes a mill, so that's why we're on snow instead of just regular basics. For mana rocks, we're just pretty basic: Arcane Signet, Demir Signet, Bonder's Ornament, and then a Mistvein Border Post. I do like the Border Post cycle for Pauper Commander. You pay 1 mana, return a land to thy hand, and you can cast it, and you just have a mana rock for the rest of the game. I think the trade-off's worth it. You might not, so this is definitely can be replaced by something like Commander Sphere, one of the Keystones or Lockets. I just like the Border Post. That's just me. And then rogues we have separate on this list, but also there's a lot of rogues that just mill in general, like this dude. I can't pronounce his name. So let's start with just the rogues. We have the Sneak, which gives us initiative, which initiative, as we know in Regular Pauper, is very good. Less good in multiplayer formats, but still good enough, especially with rogues, which there's a decent bit of chunks of rogues that are unblockable, which is why we're playing stuff like Canal Courier to give us Monarch. Difficult Rogue, just another unblockable creature, except by rogues. Dismantle Operative, also can be blocked by power of creatures 4 or greater. My phone just went off. Expedition Stalker, 2/2 rogue, that has Death Touch as long as you have another rogue. Rogue, another Flash Flying, between ETBs, a creature gets -2, -0. Fog Tosser Bannerment, which are going to discount all our rogues by 1. Grey Harbor Merfolk, an unblockable rogue, and it gets +2/+0, so it's a 2/3 as long as you draw a commander. That's a creature. Planeswalker, which don't exist in this format. Higher Torturer, just a defender that makes an opponent lose 2 life and reveal a card at random from the hand. We're only playing this because one card that interacts with defenders that mill for the amount of defenders you control. Plus it's a rogue, so it's a 3/3 blocker, which isn't the worst thing to have. Key Tosser Rogue, an unblockable rogue. Looter Ilkor, an essentially unblockable rogue that when it deals damage you loot. It can be blocked by creatures with shadow, but that's not going to happen too often. Mask Blackguard, we're just a creature we can cheat in with Flash, and then we can also boost it if we want to if we have a lot of mana. Ogre Jailbreaker is another card with Defender, and it can attack as if we didn't have Defenders, so we can control gates, so we're pretty much playing almost all the gates we can be playing. Not that there's that many that we can be playing. Shortcut Seeker, since we are playing with initiative, this will help us get through dungeons faster, because whenever it deals combat damage, we venture, and a 3/5 is not the easiest thing to block. So the Blade is another unblockable rogue, same with Triton Shorestalker. And now let's move over to the more meat of the deck, the mill. So we have this guy whose name I couldn't pronounce. Pretty much target player reveals card from the top of the library until they reveal a land card, and they put the rest into the graveyard. This is the staple of, I think that there's a legacy deck that uses this to pretty much mill themselves out entirely with Thassa's Oracle. But that's not what we're doing here, we're just doing it to hopefully get a decent bit of mills off of the opponent's library. Thought like a dap, you just tap it to make someone mill a card. Slow, but it's still, we needed a space in this deck to try and make mill as good as it could be. Chronic Flooding, which enchants a land, which pretty much whenever that land becomes tapped, the person who tapped it mills 3 cards. Compelling Argument makes someone mill 5. We will also cycle it for draw power. Countermand, a counter spell that makes them mill 4 cards if that spell is counted. So there's a lot of counter spells like this, so we're pretty much playing all the ones we can be. Dampen Thought 1 that makes someone mill 4. It's placed on Arcane, which is never going to happen. Dealgon Ban, kind of a removal spell that also incidentally mills someone 3 cards. Didn't Say Please, another counter that mills. Doorkeeper, this is the one I was talking about, where target player puts top X cards in his library, where X is the number of creatures with defender you control. So that's why we're playing some of the weirder defenders. We play 2 in a blue and tap it, and then we mill for however many defenders we have. Drag a Thought Thief from the ETBs, look at the top card of player's library, and you may mill it, so we're pretty much always going to be milling it. It's a rogue that can mill on ETB. Dreadwaters, target player puts X card in his library, where X is the number of land you control, so this can do a pretty hefty amount of mill if we play it late game, so that's why we're including this. Dream Twist makes someone mill 3 cards, and also has flashback, so it can mill for a total of 6 for a total of 3 mana, pretty good. Joan Onisius, whenever a player plays a blue spell, which we're playing mostly blue spells, you can pay 1 to make someone mill 2. Evanescent Intellect, an enchanted creature that allows it to pay 2 and tap it to target a player and put the top 3 cards in the library into the graveyard, so milling for 3. Eye Collector's a 1/1 flyer that when it deals combat damage, everyone mills 1. So because you have 3 opponents, someone's probably not going to have a way to block a flyer, so that will make everyone mill 1. Gold Color's Bell just tap to make everyone mill 1. Glacial Grasp, it taps a creature, and then its controller mills 2 cards, and then that creature doesn't tap till the next end step, and you draw a card. So it mills, draws you a card, and it puts a creature out of the game for a little bit. Grizzly Spectral destroys a creature, and then the controller of the creature puts the top cards from his or her library into the graveyard, equal to that creature's power. So if you kill like a really big creature that's juiced up, especially if it's like Voltroned up with no protection, this can mill a lot. Hamad Explorer, when it ETBs, someone mills 4. This crab is rival playing the Snowlands because whenever a snow permanent enters the battlefield, you make someone mill 2. Chaser's Eraser pretty much makes it so whenever you draw a card, someone can cast the mill a card. Looking at format pretty much is another way to put mill by paying 2 and tapping it. Memory Sluice, I don't know if I said that right, but you pretty much can make someone put the top 4 cards of the deck into the graveyard. And we can also conspire by tapping 2 creatures to copy it, so we can make multiple people mill 4, which is pretty nice. Merfolk Mesmerist, just pay a blue and tap it to make someone mill 2. Merfolk Secret Keeper makes someone mill 4. Well, Witch Nimmer, pretty much ETB, someone mills 2 cards. Mind Rat Copy, at the beginning of combat during your turn, everyone mills 3. Ninorama Sky Dancer, when it ETBs, makes someone mill 2. Paranoid Delusions lets us put the top 3 cards of someone's library into the graveyard, and it also has Cypher, so we can put it on a creature that's unblockable, so we can repeatedly copy the spell. Pilfered Plans makes someone mill 2, and you draw 2, very nice draw power engine. Psychic Strike, another counter, and make someone mill. Return Centaur, ETBs, you make someone mill 4. Return Reveler, when it dies, you make someone mill 3. Sage's Road Denizen, whenever another blue creature enters the battlefield under your control, you make someone mill 2, and since you're playing a lot of blue creatures, this would be pretty common. Soulhalf Occultist pretty much makes it so whenever it or another creature dies, someone has to mill 1. Sibsic Host, ETBs, you make someone mill 3. Stream of Thought makes someone mill 4, and then you shuffle 4 cards into your library so you like, and we can also replicate it to copy it for every time we play Replicate, so we have a lot of mana out, we can do this effect multiple times. Thought Collapse is another counter and mill. Thought Scour makes someone mill 2 and you draw a card for just 1 mana. Tome Scour makes someone just straight up mill 5. Towering Wave Mystic makes it so whenever it deals damage, you make that person mill the amount of damage they took into the graveyard. Baldekin Enchanter is pretty much 1 blue mana, tap it to make someone mill 2. Vessel Palmoniza, pretty much you pay a blue to sack it to make someone mill 3, and then you also get a draw card. Prison Charm, you can make a artifact phase out, which is never going to be used, but the effect you're going to be using it for is to make someone mill 4. And then one very weird effect you can use, you make all lands 1 basic land type, so you can make everyone's land into a color they don't have, so they can't play the spells. Very weird effect, but we're playing it for the mill mostly. Window a book, you bounce a spell, and then everyone mills 2. And then Jewel Duelist, you eat Flaccid in, creature gets -2, -0, and they mill 2. And that's the deck. It's definitely in the weaker power, it's kind of more for fun, a little weird wacky mill, and kind of loosely combat themed with the unblockables. Odds of you winning with mill is very rare in Commander. It's going to be very tricky, but you have enough creatures you might be able to succeed, especially some of the bigger ones in this deck. This deck is definitely, if you like mill, I would recommend it, or if you can't let go of 2021 Standard.